Cheers and welcome to Irondale Brewing. It's time to engage in the annual act of self-flagellation, I guess is the best way to put it, known as tasting pumpkin beers. Love them or hate them. There's not a lot of people that are kind of in between, at least in the beer nerd world. I tend to be one of the haters, so bear that in mind as we go through this. I'm going to be trying 5 pumpkin ales, as you can see today, that I got in a package from Brew Pigeon. Sorry, it took me a second to remember. Came with some pumpkin ales and Oktoberfest, all good East Coast beers. So I figured I would try these because they are all kind of craft pumpkin ales that I haven't had any of these before. I will say, just kind of as a gentle introduction to pumpkin beers. The first pumpkin beer I ever had was Buffalo Bill's pumpkin ale, which I think they claim is the original pumpkin ale. I think they're out of Hayward, California, if I remember correctly. I remember liking that one, but I haven't had it in about probably 20 plus years. And I will give also honorable mention to one of the worst beers I have ever had, pumpkin or not, New Belgium's Atomic Pumpkin. Just awful. I mean, I would say if you haven't had it, try it so you know just how bad a beer can be, because it is atrocious. And I love a lot of New Belgium beers, or used to. I haven't kind of fallen out of having their stuff lately, but back in the heyday of Fat Tire, they made some really good beers. That Atomic Pumpkin is just awful, awful, awful. So enough about that. I'm barely hitting the relevance window here. It's a couple days after Halloween. I didn't quite make the Halloween, but hey, I got the shirt. So we're going to try these, just no particular order, left to right. I'll kind of give you an overview. We have, and half the fun of this too is the names of the beers, because they're always very punny, and it's true in craft beer in general. But we have Bashing Pumpkins Pumpkin Ale from Sibling Revelry Brewing in Westlake, Ohio. We have Pumpkin Hand Spiced Pumpkin Ale from North High Brewing Company. Let's see if I can find, and I'll give more stats as I go. It's from Columbus, Ohio. It's fun to try these beers I don't get on the West Coast here. This one is Pumpkin Spice Daybreak Cream Ale. If I had to pre-pick one I think I might like, it's probably this one, but we'll see. And that one is from Wolf's Ridge Brewing in Columbus, Ohio also. Ignite, they make good beers. I've had a few of their other beers, not their pumpkin one in particular. This one is called Ignite, the Jack-O-Lantern Pumpkin Ale, and Ignite is from, I don't remember, I believe Barberton, Ohio. I don't know where that is, but Ohio. So these are all Ohio. And last, we have Pumpkin the Breaks. Clever. From Outer Belt Brewing. And this one is in Carroll, Ohio. So I think that they're all Ohio. So let's give these a shot. I guess I'm just going to go. I didn't look to see, ABVs, etc. So I'm just going to go my right to left, your left to my right, and start with Bashing Pumpkins Ale. And if there's information on these cans, I'll give it as I go. The hops are Hallertau Blanc. It just says ale yeast. Wow, this is quite a malt bill on this one. Pale ale malt, Munich malt, Vienna malt, flaked oats, carapils, and acidulated malt. And the additions they list is pumpkin, ginger, cinnamon, and brown sugar. Okay, this is interesting. Inspired by the Belgian-style Golden Strong Ale, this pumpkin ale is a bit more feisty than expected. With they used the wrong its, so negative points for that. With ''S golden appearance, less sweet body, and a crisper dry finish, this beer may start off unassuming, but there's nothing bashful about the flavor of our fall favorite. Okay, we will give this a shot. So we are looking at Bashing Pumpkins Ale. I do not see an ABV on here. They have to put that on there, though, I think by law. 9.2%. Holy crap. And 25 IBU. Okay, and I'm not going to drink all these. My guess is I'm going to hate at least 4 of them, if not all 5. So, yeah. Give this one a shot. So, Bashing Pumpkins from Sibling Revelry. And I'll just dump it in here and give it a true. Wow, that is a pretty color. I'll give it that. Okay. Nice color. Nice golden color. It just smells like a Belgian to me. That fruity, yeasty, Belgian thing going on. I don't smell pumpkin or any of the spices and ginger, cinnamon, and brown sugar. I don't get any of that on the nose. But let's see what it tastes like. But yeah, and the head went away pretty quickly. So I don't know if that's a packaging issue. I do notice also, just to gripe while I'm griping about stuff, a little bit of residue on top of the can, which that's a little bit hinky, but we'll see how this goes. That is not terrible. It basically just tastes like, try to hold this up, but it basically just tastes like a Belgian with some, the big thing I get in it is ginger. I don't get any cinnamon, maybe a little bit of brown sugar kind of in the mouthfeel more than anything else. Don't hate it. I don't know if it's just, it didn't get packaged or shipped well, but the carbonation went away pretty quick. And I don't mean just the head. It's kind of flat. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to drink a lot of it. The ginger is pretty heavy. I'm not a huge fan of ginger stuff in general, but this is pretty heavy burn on the ginger, and then the finish is super tart, which Belgian, you'd expect a little bit of that. I don't get any pumpkin, so I don't know. We're going to call that one, I don't know. I'll rate them in terms of pumpkins. We're going to give that one a 2 out of 5 pumpkins. It's not horrible. It's not great. I think they missed the mark with pumpkin at all, for that matter, but I don't know. All right, up next, we have the North High Pumpkin Hand Spiced Pumpkin Ale. It is 7.5% ABV. They do not list anything else about it, really. So we'll see what this one's all about. Just spiced pumpkin ale. All right. Okay, that looks more fall colored. A nice coppery brown. Ooh, yeah, I like the color. It's copper, almost ruby brown. That's nice. Definitely a lot of pumpkin spice on the nose. Just pumpkin pie. Smells like pumpkin pie. I will say also, if you want to try a pumpkin beer that to me tastes like drinking pumpkin pie, Pumpkin from Southern something. Let me look that up because I don't want to misguide you here. Southern Tier, I think. Sorry. Bear with me. Pumpkin. Yep, Southern Tier Pumpkin. They make an imperial version and kind of a normal version. They may be named slightly differently, but that one's pretty good. Again, I can't drink much of that one because it just tastes like you're drinking pumpkin pie, and it reminds me of like Left Hand makes a really interesting nitro key lime thing. I can have a sip or two of it, and then I'm like, I don't want to drink a whole glass of key lime pie, or in that case, pumpkin pie. But hey, if you want to try one that like tastes like pumpkin pie, that's a good one. But back to the beer at hand here with it, which is Pumpkin Hand. Huh. Made a pun, wasn't even intending to. So I get a lot of pumpkin pie spice. And pumpkin on its own is pretty mild. So it's kind of hard to like taste pumpkin if you mix it in with a beer. So most of the time people go for the pumpkin spice to kind of give you that idea of pumpkin pie, basically. That one's got a nice full mouthfeel. This is a pretty malty beer. I don't hate that aspect of it. The pumpkin spice flavor is pretty strong, particularly in the aftertaste that makes me not want to drink any more of it. And that's my problem with a lot of these beers. It's like, I just am not enticed to have another sip of something that, goes this route. But I will say it doesn't taste fake. Some pumpkin beers that try to taste too much like pumpkin pie, they end up tasting artificial. This one tastes nice and, there's nothing fake or artificial, extracty flavoring kind of flavor going on. I just don't care for it. But it's nicely spiced. It's just a spiced pumpkin ale. I can't really put my finger on what spices there are. It doesn't hit me as like the pumpkin pie spice you get in a spice jar. It's not terrible. I will also give this one 2 pumpkins. That might be my highest rating because I don't. Okay. The next one is the one that I predicted just from the style. that I might like the best. This is Pumpkin Spice Daybreak Cream Ale. It's 5% and 14 IBUs. So let's see if they say anything about it. What's the best way to get in the mood for autumn? We think few flavors are as evocative of the season as pumpkin spice. We've taken a blend of cinnamon, vanilla, and pie spices and melded that with a rich coffee. That graces basic Daybreak. Okay, so there must be, this Daybreak beer must be a thing that Wolf's Ridge does that I'm not familiar with. And the combination is fun, familiar, and sure to be a favorite going forward. Well, I'm interested to try it. 5%. That's about all they say about it. It is done in conjunction with one line coffee. I would not have guessed in a cream ale that there'd be coffee in it, but I don't know. That sounds interesting. Let's try it. Oh, wow. Okay, if there's coffee in here, you don't see it in the color for sure, because that is just a straight up golden beer there. Oh, wow. You can definitely smell like massive amount of coffee on the nose. That's really interesting because there is no indication there in the visuals that there's coffee in here, but even just opening the can and definitely, kind of as I actually put my nose in the glass, that is really heavy on the coffee. Does not seem to be a lot of carbonation. Head went away almost instantly. But nice pale golden color. I don't smell anything on the nose other than coffee, so this will be interesting. That's actually pretty good. A richer, fuller mouthfeel than would be expected from the look of it. Now that it's kind of been in the glass for a little bit, you do tend to start smelling the spices behind the coffee. I don't smell cinnamon particularly. Definitely getting a little bit of vanilla mixed in with the coffee. That coffee aroma is just something else. It's really interesting. You don't taste the coffee nearly as much as you smell it. And so the flavor is pretty nice, smooth vanilla. If there's cinnamon in there, it just kind of hints at it in the aftertaste with a little bit of the cinnamon burn, but nothing major. That is actually not bad. It doesn't, if you didn't tell me this was a pumpkin beer, I don't know that I would guess that it's pumpkin beer. But the coffee, vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon is kind of a nice fall flavor. I am really interested in that the color is so light, given that there's coffee in it. And I don't know how they got that aroma to come through that intensely without it being coffee bitter in the beer. That's really interesting. And it has just a nice, smooth, creamy finish. Probably from the vanilla would be my guess. So that one, I'm going to give that one 4 pumpkins. I actually kind of like that one. It is not a pumpkin pie style beer, but it is a nice beer and it's super interesting. I've never had anything quite like this with the coffee in the mix, but it looks like that. And well done, Wolf's Ridge. That is a nice beer. So that one I might actually finish. All right, next up, Ignite. Theirs is Ignite the Jack-O-Lantern Pumpkin Ale. Let's see what they say about it. Okay, we have scoured the patch to find the perfect match, a bright orange ball to light up your fall, as this pumpkin ale will never fail to roll in the best season of all. Okay, well, that's a cute poem. I'll give them points for that. So maybe they're starting at 1 pumpkin. 7% alcohol. They don't list spices, whatever, none of that stuff. So it just says pumpkin ale. We'll see what this one's about. Okay. Nice, kind of very similar to this one, a little bit lighter, more brown, less red, but kind of has a copper brown thing going on. Yeah, no, that smells bad. Oh God, I don't even, yeah, it smells like pumpkin pie, but not in a good way. It's got a weird medicinal thing going on. That's strange. Hold on, let me smell my shirt or something to clear the... Yeah, there's something, I don't know that it's actually something wrong with the beer, but there is a medicinal quality to it. Maybe it's just kind of an artificial spice kind of thing going on that is not very enticing. But here we go. I'm doing this so you don't have to. No, that's terrible. That gets 0 pumpkins, even given the poem. Um, it is super sour tart on the finish. I don't know why. I don't know what they tried to do there, or if there actually is something wrong with this beer. But it is really... I will say, given a choice between this, as bad as I'm describing it, and Atomic Pumpkin, I would still drink this. But this is really terrible. Yeah, it smells bad. It tastes as bad, if not worse than it smells. There's something really off about the finish. That's sour tart on the back of the tongue. And yeah, no, I'm not even going to try that again. 0 pumpkins for that one. Okay, last one. Pumpkin the Breaks, Outer Belt. Let's see what they say about this one. Our take on a classic pumpkin ale, but with house-roasted butternut squash with cinnamon, clove, and allspice to enhance the fall flavors. Pair with tricks or treats, fall desserts, caramel apples. Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. It is 6.9% ABV. Points for the name. God, I can't get over how bad that one is. And that's too bad because I've had... That one kind of blew up a little bit. I've had a couple of the Ignite beers that were not bad. They make a Christmas beer that is pretty nice. I don't know, like I said, if there's something actually wrong with that one or what happened there. But, okay, that one, yeah. Brown, copper brown. Yeah, definitely, it doesn't smell like pumpkin pie, but it does smell kind of fall spice sort of thing going on. What did they say they used allspice? Butternut squash is kind of interesting. House roasted butternut squash. Cinnamon, clove, and allspice. Okay. I don't really get clove yet. Maybe it just needs to warm up for a second or open up a little bit. This one of all of them seems to have the best carbonation and head going on. All right, well, let's give it a taste. That's actually pretty good. It tastes pretty malty, and the squash, I'm assuming, gives it a little bit of fullness and a little bit of, I guess I'd say, if I say vegetal, that sounds bad. But I mean that in a good way. It's kind of a, kind of vegetable richness to it that's kind of interesting. Like butternut squash. Yeah, so that's well done. I think they incorporated that butternut squash well. And, it says pumpkin the breaks. There's no pumpkins were harmed in the making of this beer, apparently. But I don't hate that. I don't like it nearly as much as this one, but it's not terrible. And if I gave that one 4 pumpkins, I'll give this one 3 pumpkins. I can't imagine a pumpkin beer that I would give 5 pumpkins, so maybe bear that in mind as well. But this one's interesting. Okay, now the clove's starting to come out a little bit more. Yeah, I don't hate that. It is nice and rich, a little bit of, spiciness going on, particularly as it warmed up for a minute. And yeah, that's interesting. And I do appreciate, like, this is different than any other beer I've ever had. I've never had a beer with butternut squash in it. And they did a good job of balancing all that stuff that doesn't hit you in the face with the pumpkin spices, which I will say a lot of pumpkin beers that I've had, it's a beer that they dumped a bunch of pumpkin spice into, or pumpkin pie spice into to make it feel like it's a pumpkin beer. And to me, it's lazy and I don't like it. And whatever, it's a thing. But like I said, bear in mind, like, I'm a hater of pumpkin beer in general. But hey, I found 2 out of 5, which is probably 2 more than I thought I was going to get that are not terrible. I'd say This one, the Pumpkin Spice Daybreak Cream Ale from Wolf's Ridge, I actually like this one. This is a really interesting beer. This is the coffee one. That coffee aroma is just still hanging around. That's incredible. I really want to figure out what's going on with this beer a little bit more. Geez, that vanilla smoothness as it warmed up a little bit is just really coming through. You get that coffee on the aroma, not so much coffee in the taste. There's no bitterness from the coffee and the flavor, and just a really smooth, full finish from the vanilla. So that's a well done beer. And then this one is well done in its own way. Yeah, these are two very different beers. This one's very zippy, spicy on the tongue, and has that kind of that fullness from the butternut squash, which is pretty interesting. And the spices again, super well balanced, not overwhelming, doesn't gross you out or hit you over the head. So yeah. Anyway, that is my pumpkin beer roundup for this time around. Um, yeah, again, like I don't remember my ratings. I'll just put them up on the screen as I go back and put the video together. But hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to dump probably all of these except for probably this one. That is the one I keep going back to, although this one is not bad. So the two that I liked, Pumpkin Spice Daybreak from Wolf's Ridge and Pumpkin the Breaks from Outer Belt. Um, avoid ignite the jack-o'-lantern at all costs. This is disgusting. I don't know what happened there. And the first two, not good either. So I hope you enjoyed that. That is my 2024 pumpkin beer roundup. Maybe I'll make this an annual thing. Try to hunt down more pumpkin beers. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Happy late Halloween, early Thanksgiving, whatever. Happy fall. We'll just put it that way. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.